Nice, Terri.
Thanks. I took a shower today. Washed my hair.
That's good. That's good.
I know.
And you can just hear me like breathing like a fat man in the Family Guy episodes. I'm like,
you're recording?
Yeah.
Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome.
It's been a great week, or I don't even know how long it's been, but
it's been like 3 days.
That what it seems like ages, and it's the greatest thing. Would you like to know why I am so happy? Terri is in our nation's capital, the good old US of A.
This is correct. I'm in Alexandria, Virginia, dog and house sitting.
And I never want you to come back.
The feeling is mutual.
But this has been actually very much what we needed. And I think that I actually kind of miss you.
Oh my God.
I might vomit a little bit right now for saying
so
that.
Gross.
But I miss you, but I also don't want you to live with me.
I sort of love living with you and hate living with you at the same time.
All in one fell swoop.
Yeah. Well, it's been nice though, right? We've had some time to exhale a little bit and just have our own space, which has been great. So,
100.
But yeah, Mandy, how's it been at home since I've been down here?
It's been lovely weather. I've got the place to myself. I literally was just saying to Mom that I feel like I'm on vacation, even though like I'm not going anywhere. But it's been absolutely lovely. It's great. Yeah. I'm very happy with the blue skies. King's happy.
Same. Yeah, it's been glorious down here. Mandy, guess what I watched today?
Was it something about spies?
No, but
or
good guess.
World War II.
Well, yeah, that does come to it later. Okay. But you're barking up the right tree. Glory.
That was like my favorite movie forever.
I know.
Whose favorite movie is something about something so? Well, I was gonna say something so sad, but then again, you're obsessed with World War II documentaries, so I guess
it's like your favorite movie of all time, right?
Well, that and then there's Dirty Dancing.
But we've both probably watched Glory like 1,500 times. So
approximately, yep.
And even with that, I still cried. Oh, it's been years, but I cry every time I watch the end because it's so powerful.
It really, it honestly. Is that what you were trying to do? Make me cry?
No.
It doesn't take much. I'll just listen to Rearview Mirror and cry.
Oh, right. Yeah. You cry at Rearview Mirror. Oh my God. I listened to Pavarotti during the drive down to DC and I cried because, I cry at opera and Pavarotti. Mandy cries to Pearl Jam. No, it was pretty awesome. You haven't lived, Mandy, until you've seen Glory with built-in surround. And those last 20 to 30 minutes of just, raw emotion in that movie were just brought up to a whole nother level.
I am crying. I'm literally like fighting back tears thinking about this movie right now.
I don't know if you knew this, but I wrote an essay on the Massachusetts 54th Regiment for one of my history writing classes at UMass.
I did not know that.
Totally, 8 to 10 page term paper or whatever. And, as I always do, I wait till the last second to put together a paper, just procrastinate. And it would be, I don't know, they like the couple days before and I'd get all the books and then do the research and pull a couple all-nighters and stuff. I'll tell you, it was a little easier to write the paper about the 54th because we watched the movie 1,000 times. Historically accurate, I'm sure everything from that movie must have been
all factual.
The best part was, and I remember I was friends with Patty at the time and, she was a history buff and I think she had a master's in history or something, but I was writing the paper on it. I'm like, I got to pull this paper out. And I swear to God, this professor had never seen the movie because I'm like, if he had just seen this movie and read this paper, it would have been like,
your paper's like the screenplay.
But no, I ended the last line of the paper. The fort was never taken. It was the very last line of the movie. Patty was just laughing. She's like, did you seriously put that in your paper? I mean, why don't you just turn in the video? Why don't you just turn the movie as your paper? I can't believe you used that line. I'm like, yeah, well, I got an A.
You got an A off that?
Yeah, dude. Yep.
Either that or the professor's favorite movie was Glory. And therefore
he was partial and he's like, okay, cool. It's fine.
He's like, this chick's cool.
But yeah, to your point, I also watched Dunkirk in 1917 on the surround side. That was awesome. Epic.
Dunkirk's that's an uplifting.
I know both of those are very uplifting movies. World War I, World War II.
But they're two Dunkirk because of Tom Hardy.
They're both just outstanding films.
Guess what I've been watching?
What?
Family Feud. Between Family Feud and ID Discovery, every time I have it on, I'm like, this is the best.
Oh my God. When I hear the music, I get so mad at Mandy. Just binge Family Feud or just have it on the background. And there's nothing more annoying to continuously hear
Dude, Steve Harvey's hysterical.
Yeah,
Steve
sure. I
Harvey
can
is
give you that, but I
hysterical
don't.
in that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So Terri, she's away. She's in DC. And Terri lived there forever ago. It got us talking about all the places she's lived, which has been many. And we thought it would be a fun little game for me to try to piece together these locations chronologically.
Oh, yes. Where I've lived since UMass Amherst.
I think
all
it'll
the
be a
places.
really easy task for me.
Oh, yeah.
You may be surprised how much I remember.
What's going to be funny about this is just to hear how much Mandy struggles.
And the best part is that I've been to most of the places, but I just don't remember when. Oh, gosh. I'm going to try to recall the order.
Okay, we finished UMass Amherst. I did work for a bit in Boston for like 6 or 8 months of that internship.
Yeah,
but
didn't
then
you work for Old Town Trolley with Hillary?
No, that was during school.
Okay. So we're off to a good start.
Past Massachusetts, What was the first place?
Okay. DC. You lived in
Ding,
Washington.
ding, ding. Yep,
yes.
That's right. How many years do you think I was there?
I feel like you were there for 2.
Nah.
5.
No.
4.
3.5 years.
3.5 years. In DC.
Do you have any? Would you like to venture a guess on how many apartments I had?
I know that I visited one of them with Iander.
That was the one on Capitol Hill near Union Station. I had
to go 2.
Well, 2 mainly, and then I did have a third one in Woodley Park for a few months before I decided to move out of the city. So 3.
3. So the one in what?
Woodley Park. That's where the
Woodley
zoo is.
Park.
Yeah.
That was the last one. And so from there, I moved back home. Oh, see? Look
yes, you got it. Back
that.
Living with Mary and Jack for the summer. That summer.
Good old Mary, Jack, and Mandy.
Oh, wait. Were you living there then? You must have been. That's when we worked. Dude, that's when we worked at JJ McKay's. Yeah.
Yes.
We're going back.
That's
JJ McKay's in Wayland.
Oh, yeah. May the Jade rest in peace.
Spent the summer with the family, and then I moved
to Palm Desert.
Yes.
Shut the front. See, aren't you shocked how much I actually do about your life?
And then, of course, en route to Palm Desert, I spent 2 weeks in Vancouver, and that's when 9/11 happened during that cross-country drive. It was on the way to Vancouver, and we were at Mount Rushmore. Telling you, when we got to Canada and we were in Vancouver, every Canadian I met was so nice, and they were all like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." They wanted to apologize in solidarity with Americans. It was so sweet. It was really touching.
It is really. Where were you in relation to New York when it happened?
Like I said, we were in Mount Rushmore during our drive.
All right. So there's an example of how much I don't listen to Terri.
Yeah.
However, I've done a pretty good job of knowing where.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah. So you were in Palm Desert.
So Palm Desert was only for like 8 months in Palm Desert.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That was my spring break, and I was going to move there afterwards because I was obsessed. So from there.
Where did I work in Palm Desert?
A beer hunter.
Yes.
Oh my God. I don't know how that just came to me. Was that the Boston one?
You're thinking Sonny McLean's in Santa Monica. And then where?
Did you go from there to New Zealand?
No.
Sugar Bear. Did you come back to Boston?
No.
You went there from there to LA?
Yeah. Because it was like 2 hours away.
Else. So, okay. So Palm Desert to LA.
Would you like to venture a guess as to how many apartments I had in LA?
At least 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to double it and say 4.
No.
Son of a biscuit.
3.
I visited you at the one where you thought that I had died like Mama Cass.
Okay. That was in Santa Monica. That was the 3rd apartment. Okay. So yeah, the apartments in LA where we spent a few months in the Pico Robertson area, which was Beverly Hills adjacent really. And that's when I got the job at the restaurant on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, which I stayed at for a few years. Yep.
And I remember when I went to visit you, one of the places that you brought me to was where Pretty Woman was filmed.
The Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel was just across the street from the Via Rodeo where I worked. Yes, Mandy. I
believe that we went there for Cosmos.
I believe you're right. We definitely.
And I know that I ended the night at a bar that I swear to God Dennis Quaid was the singer at, and I was with some dude that you worked with, and he was mortified by me because I was like this Massachusetts chick. Is that Dennis Quaid? And he was like, "Okay, we gotta go. You're annoying."
It was a fun night though.
Yeah, good times. Me and Mom went out there.
Yeah, you guys came out once, and we went to
Catalina. And then Mom went home, and then we got to
rip it up.
Tell California who's boss.
Did you ever come visit?
Knows how to party
in the city. I don't know if you visited me. I was in West Hollywood with Craig for a year before moving to Santa Monica. You recall that Whitey Bulger lived a block and a half from where I used to live in Santa Monica. Yeah.
Did you know that when you were there?
Of course not. We would have been like $8 million richer.
Yeah,
had I known.
Yeah, you would have been like FBI.
And then he was apprehended probably like a year or two after I moved out of there.
And you're like, dude, I lived right there.
Yeah. Big claim to fame.
I lived right there. And then I got to be the lucky person to drive cross country with you back to Mass. We had a deadline. We had to get to Lori's wedding.
Yeah.
If it killed
back
us.
in Massachusetts. And the car, I was getting my car detailed because I had to turn the lease back in.
That's right.
And the guy was taking so long finishing it. It was supposed to be done. And we had a solid week to make our trip and, get home and chill. And it took him an extra like 3 days to do the car. So I think we had 3 or 4 days total to make that trip cross country.
First of all, I'm traumatized by quite a few things in that trip. This is a good thing, is that you have friends throughout the country. So the plan was for us to stay at your friends' houses along the way.
We stayed in Denver.
Yep. We stayed in Denver. Did we have to bypass Eileen?
Short on time. So we didn't get to stay in Arizona.
In New Mexico, didn't we?
I think so. We were in Denver, and then we were trying to go to Omaha.
Yeah. All right. I'm getting there. I'm trying to prevent us getting to that point because I still literally have PTSD from this. We're trying to get to Nebraska.
So we were behind on time from Denver to Omaha because we took the wrong highway out and we ended up in Kansas by accident. Right. So we were already off track and we're like, oh crap. And the weather forecast was not good. So we redirected up north and got on the right route, but we were now behind and the storm started. We were driving and we were like, okay, we've got, 5 hours or something, right? Like we've got this, we can do this. And, Kathleen's family had this really nice spread and they're lovely and they've had us there before and they were excited to have us and we were going to spend the night. And
so Terri was adamant that we get there, which is fine. I do feel badly that I was pushing so badly for us to pull over and get the F out of this tornado's way. I do feel bad. Like really, did those words just come out of my mouth? I felt badly that we had to
we're trying to avoid the tornadoes that were in our path. Yeah. They were traveling west to east with us. So they were exactly where we were driving is where the counties that were being hit at the time. All right. So then we made it, but remember the last leg of that trip, we got home at 6 a.m. on that Saturday and Lori's wedding was at like 2 p.m. that Saturday. And we had that big night out in Chicago. We were like, screw this. We've had this crazy trip and we're going to have one good night in Chicago. And then
we just almost died. We're going to go tear
going to Chicago. So we had the best steak dinner. Remember that? And the cherry pie. Oh my God.
Pie.
And then we were like, okay, that's it. We're doing it. We're going to do Chicago to Boston and we're doing it in the one day and we can do it. And of course we left way later than we expected because we were out late. So we got up late. We got stuck in all the Friday Chicago traffic. 12, like midday. And we couldn't even, it took us hours to just get out of the surrounding area. Yeah, and then we drove through the night and that last stretch on the Pike in Massachusetts, it was the last brutal. 1 or 2 hours were so brutal. Remember I was driving and all of a sudden my tear ducts just opened up. Water just flooding down my face. I wasn't crying. Like we didn't know what caused it. It was because probably a bit of a hangover, probably some dehydration, and then staring at the road for 13, 14 hours straight. I was driving, the tears started, we had to pull over so you could drive.
And then I drove like 2 miles an hour because I was convinced a deer was going to jump in front of us on the Pike.
So we did get home and we slept for just a few hours before the wedding. So we're home now in Massachusetts. I've moved out of LA and we're back home.
You went to New Zealand.
That's correct. So
you were there
New
for
Zealand.
A year.
That's right.
And that
Which, there's nothing really to report there except that it was as awesome as it sounds. After the 1 year in New Zealand,
you came back here for my wedding.
Where did we go from there?
JP.
That's right. Jamaica Plain, September 2006, and was there until May 2012. That's 6 years. That was a record for staying.
Time.
That was a long time for me.
Mike, who is your landlord, is a lovely human being.
Oh yeah, the best.
He's a gem.
What happened in May 2012?
I don't remember. Did you move back in with mom and daddy?
No.
Where did you go from there?
Dude.
I don't remember.
Oh my God.
This was literally the most recent and I can't remember.
Try New York.
I cannot believe I just forgot that.
Yep.
There was another thing since New York, Prague. I almost forgot about
Yes,
Prague.
this is so right. For the 3 years that I was in New York, there was an 8-month hiatus while I was living in Prague.
Then back to New York, then back to Boston.
Yep.
From West Roxbury to Roslindale, which is your current residence.
That's right. Manny, I've been back in Boston since 2015, which is now 6 years. Again, this is the longest stint. I obviously it's time for me to move again.
Yeah, clearly it's time.
Well, that was great.
Fun. You want to know where I've lived? Putting you on the spot.
Natick.
Yep. This is tough.
Marlboro,
Yep.
Roslindale.
You got it.
Yes.
Nailed it.
I can't believe I nailed that.
3
That
for
one was
3.
really difficult. That was difficult. Yeah. It's all right. You had 3 different locations in Massachusetts. Okay.
Yeah. So you nailed it, though. Now that we've discussed Terri's nomadic life, we will have occasional episodes where we have a special guest from that chapter in Teresa's life. Maybe to reminisce, maybe to embarrass Terri, maybe just, hang out.
And see what they're up to these days.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't know.
Well, starting today, we have a very special guest, and it's my friend Todd.
I can't wait to
we
talk
love Todd.
to Todd.
Dear friend here from my DC days. So when we were both young, because we're not young anymore, but we were then.
The glory days.
So we hope you enjoy. Have a listen. Hi, Todd.
Hi, Terri.
Thank you for joining our little podcast today.
Thank you for having me. And hello to all your listeners.
All 3 of them.
While I'm house and dog sitting, been hanging out with old Todd here.
Yeah, I had a beautiful day yesterday. We had a quaint stroll through Georgetown.
It was
Yeah,
so quaint. There were like no tourists anywhere. It was, it was easy to park, easy to find a place to get a drink. No people on the street.
Are you being sarcastic?
Yeah.
So it was a hot.
Yeah, it was just like me and Terri in Georgetown. It was beautiful.
So for the benefit of our listeners, Todd, how did you meet my sister?
I came to know your sister working at a think tank, which we'll just call the tank for purposes of this podcast.
For security purposes.
So we met 1999. So we worked together at the tank on K Street. We were K Street elite back in the day.
Junior staff, baby.
And we were hobnobbing with, actually, we really were hobnobbing.
We hobnobbed.
Pretty important people.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, for all those listeners out there that have worked at a think tank, it's filled with older, learned people, very accomplished people, and then a slew of junior staff who just sort of run amok. And there's a lot of time to run amok when you spend years working on a project and thinking about the same subject for years and have meetings about it every month or every 2 months. There's a lot of downtime when you're, or a junior staffer anyway, when you're not having these grandiose plans about the future of the world.
I'm going to just say this. I probably worked 25% of the time that I was in the office.
We were all in cubicles and a huge line of cubicles. So
we were a row of cubicles.
We were like golfers, like standing up.
Yes.
Talking to each other.
They were just far too busy to really give a crap about what we were doing, to be honest with you, right? They're busy doing important things.
And then we'd be also like, okay, whatever.
Ready for happy hour? Staffers. Okay, let's go.
They were busy thinking about doing important things. I know that we did work with a countess.
We did. We're not going to drop her name at all. Yeah, a countess worked there. Okay, well, we had a great group of friends, though, from the junior staffers.
We did. Had a solid crew, and we all hung out, and we were all sort of in the same financial situation, if you will.
Which is limited.
We all didn't get paid very much. A lot of us, Terri and I, not only did we work together at the tank, but because we were both so underpaid, I don't know if we were underpaid necessarily for the amount of work that we got done.
True.
I mean, Terri did just say it was 25%.
Yeah, I was definitely not underpaid.
But we didn't actually make very much money for working in downtown DC and living in downtown DC. So Terri and I both had a second job, actually.
What was that second job?
From the Boston area, we both worked at Legal Seafoods. It isn't fresh. It isn't legal.
At the time, I remember, a lot of people would come in there, and Congressman Ed Mackey at the time was in there one time, and I sat him at a table and started an awkward conversation with them, letting him know I was from his district, and then I had nowhere to go with it. So
he's like,
that was
great.
Weird.
Can you just seat me at my table and leave me alone?
Nice man, though. Nice man.
Yeah, Terri and I, we ran the host stand. We were the host and hosted.
Oh, we ran that.
You did. There was no nonsense there, I'm sure.
I think we did our best, and it's closed now. It was a shitty restaurant. Like, the layout was terrible. There was not a good seat in the Legal Seafoods on K Street. No one was ever happy with their table. Everyone complained. There wasn't a good seat. Thankfully for Terri and I, the people that worked on the K Street corridor and would think that they were something special, and they could slip us a $20 bill and get a better table. Well, I will take $20.
Be like, I'm sorry.
Not a better.
There's no better. I'm sorry, sir. There is no better
I'll
table.
Take that 20, thanks.
Can we get a booth? No.
We have 2 booths for the whole restaurant, and they're
We-
both sat right now.
Literally did have 2 booths for the whole restaurant. Or the management used to try to get us to convince people that there were these 2 booths that were right across from the kitchen that they tried to upsell as some sort of fancy.
Like a chef's view.
The chef's table.
Even worse than the rest of the seats in the restaurant.
You'd see them murdering lobsters with like a butcher knife at that,
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, you could hear the lobsters
screaming.
They were thrown into the hot water.
The shrieks of the lobsters haunt me to this day. It's like Clarice in The Silence of the Lambs.
But we had
which I also watched the other day, by the way. I watched it here too. Silence of the Lambs yesterday.
No, we had some great times at the Legal Seafoods. The one good thing about Legal Seafoods is they had great happy hours. And this was back in the day when you could still smoke in the restaurant. Yep. So the host stand was right next to the bar. As it got crowded and more crowded and more crowded, bar, they would try to put their ashtray on the host stand.
What did you guys do when it happened?
I was like, sir, you can't put your ashtray on the host stand. But I can't reach the bar, sir.
Again.
I'm going to need another 20 or you're going to have to.
Why don't you tell the listeners what you do now?
Currently, I work for a defense contractor doing in-house legal work. I'm an attorney.
Todd's made it. I mean, Todd's a lawyer.
I
went from junior staff to
lawyer.
Big.
Well, I didn't go to senior staff at a think tank.
You have to be an ambassador to become senior staff at a think tank. Okay. All right. There's still plenty of time for you to do that.
Yeah.
But Todd, what I'd like to mention is you've got an Esquire after your name. So you've made it. I'm
a doctor. I should say you should address me as a doctor, but.
Wait, you're
Juris
a
doctor.
A doctor and an Esquire? Oh, okay.
But I could
a Juris doctor.
I have another question. Is it true or not true that your middle name is Simone?
You're a lawyer. You can plead the fifth.
It is 100% not true. Simone. But I will say, Teresa, that I think when I graduated law school, you bought me a business card holder, which had my full name, Todd Simone, redacted as my name on the business card.
Comma, Esquire.
Yeah. And I still use it. It's still on my desk, has my official business cards in it. Even though my middle name is not Simone. Been 20 years now, still calls me Simone.
And you still have the card holder. That's really sweet.
We were with Sue in the elevator and it came up because we were all like, Todd, what's your middle name? Begins with an S. Todd S. Redacted. We're like, Todd, what is it? And there was a guy in our tank who headed a certain program and his name was Simone. And we always would be like, come on, Simone. We just said his name a lot the way he said it, because that's how he actually spoke. It was like, Simone. And then we were like, Todd, what does the S stand for? And Sue was like, is it Simone? And that just stuck.
Sadly.
You love it.
What were your old haunts in DC at that time? What are some other ones? Where'd you chillax?
When we were not thinking at the tank or taking bribes at the seafood restaurant, we would hang out at a couple quality places. One, Terri, I haven't told you, and I'm gonna break it to you right now. But one of our go-to places when we were feeling fancy and maybe it was payday and we had a couple extra dollars to spend, we would go to the 18th Street Lounge.
Don't tell me it's closed.
Is closed.
That's really
6 months ago.
Well, how about when we were usually broke?
Any other day, we would go to a very quaint cafe next to our tank, which had 2-for-1 cocktails.
Unlimited popcorn.
Yes,
unlimited popcorn.
That's what I was about to say. The bonus was not only could we get 2 really shitty glasses of red wine for the price of 1, but we could also get dinner, which was unlimited stale popcorn.
We could fill our bellies up
too
with all the popcorn we could eat because tell the listeners, Todd.
Jean Marché.
That's what we called him. That was not his name at all. Because the place was called Cafe Marché. And the lovely man who worked there, we loved him and he loved us. Remember how he would love when we would come in there.
did.
And he would just run, probably because we were his only customers. That's because there weren't many other people in Cafe Marche. And it wasn't a cafe at all. Like that. And he wasn't French at all. And we named him Jean Marche.
Okay,
There was
ruining
in advertising. It was actually called Cafe Marche.
Remember when you lived at the Watergate?
Yeah.
You totally lived at the Watergate.
Totally lived at the Watergate because I made shit money at the tank, and I worked a second job so that I could afford my condo at the Watergate. Or I lived in an apartment, a studio apartment that was close enough and overlooked the Watergate.
Yeah. Mandy, you could see the Watergate.
It's totally the same.
It is the same thing.
Totally the same
it's
thing.
the same thing. We spent a lot of quality time at Todd's place after work too, because again, we were broke, so we would go over there after work.
At the Watergate.
And I made some really killer, and I'm sure several of your listeners would agree, I made some really killer Cosmos in glasses that I may have acquired from the before mentioned seafood restaurant.
Oh yeah. All of your glassware was from there. The blue water goblets.
Somehow.
Loved those blue water goblets.
Amazing.
Oh, I had some espresso cups. I still have things I utilize to this day.
All your glassware. Yeah.
See, thank you to Legals. Gift that keeps on giving.
And I think we went a couple times. We went to Lucky Bar, right? Some Thursdays because Daphne, those were the dollar beers. Yeah, Mandy, it's exactly what you'd imagine.
One thing that anyone from Massachusetts can be jealous of is discounts on alcohol during happy hour. Like here, it's like you get half price appetizers or something. It's like, I don't want to eat. I want cheap booze. What is wrong with you? People in Massachusetts.
I think that's why I think it was overdone when it was in existence. And then the cops are like, yeah, no, we're done. We're all set with happy hour.
That's a good point.
You're gone.
I guess I'll accept that.
I agree wholeheartedly with you, Mandy, because they don't have discounts on drinks in Virginia either.
Or there are a bunch of booze bags in Virginia too.
I guess. But the Lucky Bar is a tricky place. And I don't know how I ever survived going there and coming back, because if you've ever been to the Lucky Bar, their bathroom is up about 30 steps that are very steep. Getting up them is fine, but coming down them is, I don't know how I didn't break my neck.
Like how a bunch of people that have been drinking $1 beers for 5 hours straight are able to go and, with the layer of film on the floor. You were lucky to make it out alive. Like you weren't stuck to the ground forever.
If you didn't fall down the stairs, you were glued to the ground for life.
Or if you did fall down the stairs, your face was stuck to the ground.
Ew. Like that's almost worse.
I did not like the Lucky Bar. I did go there to support Daphne, but I'm a little bit fancier. So I wanted to go to the Lucky Bar or to 18th Street Lounge.
Todd is a little bougie.
Old school Ozio. Again, back when Terri and I were K Street Elite. And it was an old school martini and cigar bar.
Oh.
Very dark, jazz music playing. And then, like everything else on K Street, things got kicked out. And Ozio moved to M Street and became like a nightclub.
There was a psychic on that stretch of M Street as well that I got. I've been to a psychic like maybe 3 times in my life. And that one was so accurate, that reading. It was actually still creepy. Yeah.
And several strip bars.
Right.
Was the psychic a stripper?
Maybe.
Terri, we went to the beach, right? With friends and with Aaron. And there was
in Delaware,
a hurricane, and it was a blackout.
First off, let me just say you were vacationing in Delaware. I just want to make sure I heard that correctly.
They have a nice
coast in Delaware. But okay, Todd, please continue with.
We went to Delaware, and yes, people do vacation in Delaware.
Okay.
We were actually staying in a hotel at Fenwick Island, Delaware, which straddles the border between Maryland and Delaware.
I believe it was a motel, Todd, but okay.
Trying to make it a little classier, but thanks for bringing me down.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah. All right, listen, we already talked about your junior staff days. We're fine.
The hurricane came coming blackout. I don't know how, they were maybe 6 of us there, Terri. I don't remember. We had 2 rooms, but we huddled in to one room. It was dark. We had a good time.
Oh, we had fun. Irregardless.
The power came back on, which was in the middle of the night. And it was like the air conditioning coming back on, the lights coming back on because
the TV probably.
TV was on. I guess that's.
Did it wake everybody up?
It woke me up, and I'm sure it woke Terri up. I mean, Mandy, Terri's not that sound of a sleeper.
No, she's the lightest. She doesn't sleep.
Yeah, the fact that I couldn't have a fan or an AC going on means I wasn't sleeping, I'm sure. So I probably never went to sleep.
Yeah, probably.
I don't remember. But
it blocked it out.
That was a fun trip. Of course, though, with our group of friends, it ended up being Awesome.
It ended up being a fun time. I also have another vacation story with Terri, which she may not remember how scarring it was. When I came to visit you when you were living in Santa Monica, what year was that?
2003 to 2005.
I came to visit you at some point, and we went to Palm Desert.
Yes, we went to Palm Springs. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Whatever. Palm Desert is another podcast story for Terri.
You had Olga with you.
Yes. We went out. We went to the Circle K. I will preface the story. I love Terri. She's always looking out for me. She gave my phone number to the bartender on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Hey, Jeff, if you're listening, call me.
Oh, yeah. Just 2 days ago.
So went to the Circle K. There was this guy at the Circle K who seemed to be interested in me. Terri and Olga decided to invite him to our hotel room.
Oh, my God.
A few hours later, the random guy from the Circle K shows up at the hotel room. Olga.
This random guy from the Circle K.
Olga is totally petrified that this random guy is showing up at our hotel. She hides both Terri and Olga's purses immediately.
You know what? I don't blame her.
And then both of them decided, okay, well, he's here now. We're going to go to bed. So they locked themselves in the bedroom and leave me with this rando guy.
Oh, Todd's like, I never asked for this.
Thanks. I may be bloody in the morning when you unlock yourself from that bedroom.
And you only have yourselves to blame.
Mandy, it almost ended up on ID Discovery.
Thankfully, it didn't.
That was a wild weekend. That guy had nipple piercings, though?
He had nipple piercings, yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay.
And lots of other piercings.
Yeah, it's bad decisions all around. What else, Todd? What other vacation stories?
I will say the last vacation that we've had was much more adult and much more respectful. We went to Croatia.
Okay, we had a great time in Croatia. We got a 5-bedroom. We had 5 of us, and it was very adult. Right, Todd? We were reminiscing about this Croatia trip yesterday, in fact.
No, it was a great time because everyone else went to Prague beforehand. I was the last to arrive, so I got the shittiest bedroom, which didn't have any air conditioning. My biggest problem was that it was up 157 stairs.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay. So Todd did not have the best bedroom, and it was up a steep hill, but it was like the view from my room was epic. It was Game of Thrones. It was
the view from not Todd's side was breathtaking.
The Red Keep. You could see it from my balcony.
There were other things that I did complain about at the time, which
like our boat trip where, it was billed as like a cruise. And Todd, what did we encounter when we got on that?
We were all seated at picnic tables.
Fine dining.
This very nice, are we going to call her a hostess? Had a basket filled with 2-liter bottles of some generic sodas, citrus soda and a cola, and various liquors that you could mix it with. And she would pour you some sort of mixed drink. She was the best part of the whole cruise. She was great. Her personality was awesome. She was a good cruise hostess.
Did you give her $20?
We probably tipped her.
Sure, we tipped her way more than that.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking about the legal dates. Jesus, guys, keep up with your own stories.
$20.
I heard. I got it.
Thank you, Todd.
It ended up being a really great day, but I was sort of a diva. I will 100% go on the record here on the Spinster Sisters and say that I'm a diva when I'm traveling. And I'm traveling in Croatia. If I'm out spending money, I want a good time and be
Todd was like threatening to rent a private yacht for us instead of going on this cruise when he realized what the boat was.
It literally was like a tugboat that we took that had bench seating on it. And a lady with 2-liter bottles of soda. And then we go to a beach.
And unlimited grappa.
Oh. Okay.
And then we hike 1.5 miles up and over a mountain. I mean, Croatia is a beautiful place. It's not flat. And then we come back and somehow this tugboat has now been filled with beautiful, delicious food.
Todd's bougie, so he wasn't really thrilled about it, but it was actually a really wonderful time. We had a great time.
But really a tugboat.
Tugboatish.
Remember the second or third winery? I think it was the third, but remember that very attractive twin brothers? Were they twins? Remember?
Brothers, yeah. No,
they looked almost exactly. They were so handsome. And Daphne was smitten.
Daphne was a smitten kitten for sure.
One of the best photos from that trip was her being sandwiched by the 2 handsome Croatian winery guys.
Hot.
Yeah.
Todd, please tell us the most embarrassing memory you know of Terri.
Truthfully, My most embarrassing, I'm sure, would end up on the editing room floor.
Yeah, right out.
Back in the day, Terri had a romance in the office. For Halloween, Terri and her suitor dress up in full-on rented Romeo and Juliet costume.
Oh my God.
Like that they went to one of those.
So cheesy.
All right.
Rented those costumes from the costume place.
Oh,
Romeo and Juliet.
my God. I do remember we were wearing some really lame-o costumes.
Well, Todd, this has been a lovely talk.
Enlightening.
Nice chat with you. Quite enlightening, and I have enjoyed every minute of it.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to having Italian pastries with you.
Yes.
I'm in
a cafe.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode where Mandy scored fairly well in our game of recall about my nomadic adventures. And of course, when we reminisce with Todd about our young and heady DC days. We love you, Toddy. Deuces. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to the Spinster Sisters podcast on Apple or Google Podcasts or Spotify. And please follow us on social media,
where our Twitter handle is @SistersSpinster. You can also find us on Instagram @TheSistersSpinster and on Facebook @The Spinster Sisters Podcast. You can also email us at thespinstersisterspodcast@gmail.com. Bye.